the Handmaiden sisters from Star Wars. Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords serve as an intriguing and multifaceted element of the game's narrative, exploring themes of loyalty, identity, and the complexities of interpersonal bonds. Among them, Brianna, often simply called the Handmaiden, stands out as a character who embodies the tension between duty and self-discovery. These characters, shaped by their cultural heritage and personal choices, provide not only a fascinating glimpse into the lore of Star Wars, but also serve as a reflection of the game's deeper philosophical undertones. The Handmaidens are part of a sisterhood that serves Atreides, a Jedi historian who has retreated to Telos 4 to safeguard the Jedi Order's knowledge and artifacts. This group, dedicated to secrecy and discipline, lives in isolation from the broader galaxy. Their devotion to Atreides is absolute, creating an almost monastic environment that emphasizes the suppression of individual desires in favor of duty. This aspect of their lives mirrors the rigid structure of the Jedi Order, which often prioritizes ideals over personal needs. However, unlike the Jedi, whose philosophy strives to balance compassion and detachment, the Handmaidens are expected to adhere to Atreides' rigid interpretations without question, making them more soldiers of ideology than philosophers. Brianna, the lone half-human member of this group, is both an insider and an outsider. Her mother, a Jedi exiled for falling in love, sets her apart from her Ekini sisters, whose culture emphasizes martial discipline and emotional expression through combat. This heritage places her in a precarious position, torn between her mother's legacy and the traditions of the Ekini. Her relationship with the Jedi exile, the player's character, further complicates this dynamic, as the exile often serves as a mirror for Brianna's internal struggles. Through their interactions, players can see Brianna wrestle with questions of identity, loyalty, and the meaning of strength. The narrative depth of Brianna's story lies in how it challenges traditional notions of duty. Initially, her allegiance to Atreides seems unwavering. She shadows the exile at Atreides' command, ostensibly to ensure the exile does not deviate from a path that Atreides deems acceptable. However, as the exile and Brianna spend more time together, her rigid worldview begins to soften. The exile's own rejection of dogma, exemplified by their exile from the Jedi Order, inspires Brianna to question her blind loyalty. This journey of self-discovery is not linear, as Brianna often vacillates between her ingrained beliefs and her growing admiration for the exile's independence. This conflict is particularly evident in her choice to train in the ways of the Jedi, an act that defies Atreides' wishes and ultimately signals her desire to forge her own path. The Handmaiden's cultural background adds a layer of complexity to their role in the story. The Ekini, as a people, view combat as a form of intimate communication, where physical movements convey emotions and intentions more profoundly than words ever could. This philosophy influences how Brianna relates to others, particularly the exile. When she spars with the exile, the act transcends mere training. It becomes a dialogue, a means of understanding one another on a deeper level. The combat sequences between Brianna and the exile symbolize their evolving bond, blending physicality with emotional resonance. Through these interactions, players gain insight into Brianna's internal conflict, her desire for connection clashing with her duty to remain detached. Brianna's relationship with Atreides provides another critical dimension to her character. Atreides, who has devolved into a shadow of the Jedi ideals she claims to uphold, represents the dangers of unyielding adherence to doctrine. Her treatment of Brianna underscores the imbalance of power within their dynamic. Atreides uses Brianna's loyalty to further her own agenda while disregarding her individuality. This exploitation reflects a broader critique of authoritarian structures, a recurring theme in KOTOR 2. As Brianna begins to see Atreides' hypocrisy, her journey towards self-realization accelerates, culminating in her decision to reject Atreides' control. The interplay between Brianna and her sisters further illustrates the tension between individuality and collectivism. The other handmaidens, while loyal and disciplined, lack the depth and agency that Brianna demonstrates. Their near-identical appearances and behaviors suggest a loss of selfhood, as if their devotion to Atreides has consumed their identities entirely. This homogeneity starkly contrasts with Brianna's uniqueness, highlighting her struggle to reconcile her place within the group. While the Handmaidens' uniformity serves as a testament to their discipline, it also raises questions about the cost of such conformity. Brianna's eventual break from this collective mindset signifies her rejection of a life dictated by others. The Handmaiden story arc is also significant in the broader context of KOTOR 2's themes of redemption and agency. Like many characters in the game, Brianna is given the opportunity to redefine herself through her interactions with the exile. The exile, in turn, acts as a catalyst for change, challenging those around them to confront their own flaws and limitations. Brianna's growth from a dutiful servant to a self-aware individual mirrors the exile's journey, reinforcing the game's central message that identity is not fixed but rather shaped by choices and relationships. Through Brianna and the Handmaidens, KOTOR 2 delves into the moral ambiguities that define the Star Wars universe. While Atreides and the Handmaidens initially appear to embody the light side of the Force, their actions reveal the dangers of extremism and the fragility of moral certainty. Atreides' descent into darkness is not marked by overt malevolence, but by a gradual erosion of her ideals, illustrating how the pursuit of order can lead to tyranny. Brianna's rejection of Atreides' ideology serves as a poignant reminder that true strength lies in the ability to question and adapt, rather than blindly adhere to tradition. Brianna's journey is also emblematic of the game's exploration of the balance between individuality and connection. While her Ekini heritage emphasizes the importance of relationships, her upbringing under Atreides discourages personal bonds. This dichotomy is central to her character arc, as she learns to embrace both her heritage and her individuality. Her bond with the exile, forged through shared experiences and mutual respect, exemplifies the power of connection to transcend cultural and ideological boundaries. This relationship, while subtle and understated, is one of the most emotionally resonant aspects of the game, showcasing the depth of KOTOR 2's character-driven storytelling. Through its portrayal of the Handmaidens, KOTOR 2 offers a nuanced critique of the structures that define identity and agency. Brianna's struggle to assert herself within a rigid hierarchy reflects the broader struggles faced by many of the game's characters, who grapple with questions of loyalty, purpose, and selfhood in a galaxy on the brink of collapse. By presenting these themes through the lens of a deep, yet, as Brianna grows closer to the exile, she begins to understand that strength can be drawn from connection rather than isolation. This realization represents a subtle yet profound critique of the Jedi Order's dogmatic stance on relationships, suggesting that emotional bonds, while risky, can also lead to personal growth and resilience. The relationship between Brianna and the exile is particularly compelling because it evolves organically, shaped by the player's choices. Unlike many NPCs in role-playing games, Brianna's development is not a one-sided process. The exile's influence on her is mirrored by the way her story impacts the player. Her loyalty to Atreides and her struggle to reconcile duty with personal desire make her a deeply empathetic character. Depending on how the exile engages with her, whether encouraging her independence or reinforcing her loyalty, the player can see Brianna either flourish or falter. This interplay of influence underscores the game's central theme that relationships are not static but dynamic, shaped by mutual growth and understanding. Brianna's eventual rejection of Atreides is a pivotal moment that reflects the larger ideological conflict at the heart of KOTOR 2. Atreides, once a paragon of Jedi ideals, has become consumed by her obsession with order and control. Her manipulation of the Handmaidens is emblematic of her descent into hypocrisy, as she uses the very people she claims to protect as tools for her own agenda. When Brianna defies Atreides, it is not just an act of rebellion but a reclaiming of her agency. This moment is particularly powerful because it is framed as a choice, one that Brianna makes not out of anger or defiance but out of a newfound understanding of her own worth. Her decision to walk away from Atreides mirrors the exile's own rejection of the Jedi Order, reinforcing the idea that true strength lies in forging one's path, even when it means leaving behind the structures that once defined you. The Ekini culture's emphasis on combat as a form of communication adds a unique layer to Brianna's interactions with the exile and others. For the Ekini, fighting is not merely a means of resolving conflict, but a way of expressing one's emotions and intentions. This cultural framework allows Brianna to explore her identity in ways that words alone cannot. Her sparring sessions with the exile, for example, are not just training exercises but deeply personal exchanges. Through combat, Brianna is able to convey her admiration, frustration, and yearning in ways that transcend dialogue. This blending of physicality and emotion is a testament to the game's ability to use mechanics to enhance storytelling, as these interactions deepen the player's understanding of Brianna's character. The Handmaidens as a collective also serve as a commentary on the dangers of homogenization. Their identical appearance and unwavering devotion to Atreides suggest a loss of individuality, a concept that stands in stark contrast to the game's celebration of personal choice. While Brianna begins the game as one of many, her journey towards self-awareness sets her apart, underscoring the importance of carving out a unique identity. This theme resonates not just within the context of the game but also within the broader Star Wars mythos, which often grapples with the tension between individuality and collectivism. By presenting Brianna as both a product of and a challenger to this dynamic, KOTOR 2 offers a nuanced exploration of what it means to be part of a collective without losing oneself. The climax of Brianna's arc, where she confronts Atreides, is a masterful blending of personal and ideological conflict. By this point, Brianna has not only questioned her loyalty to Atreides, but also come to understand the flaws in her former mentor's worldview. This confrontation is more than a simple clash of perspectives. It is a reckoning, a moment where Brianna asserts her agency and rejects the control that has defined her life. Atreides, in her arrogance, views Brianna's defiance as a betrayal, failing to see it as an act of growth and independence. This moment is a powerful culmination of Brianna's journey, as she chooses to embrace her individuality and forge her path, free from the constraints of others' expectations. Brianna's story, and the Handmaiden's role more broadly, encapsulates the rich thematic depth of KOTOR 2. Through their portrayal, the game explores complex questions about loyalty, identity, and the interplay of choice and consequence. Brianna's transformation from a dutiful servant to a self-aware individual serves as a powerful reminder that growth often comes from questioning the structures that seek to define us. In doing so, her journey not only enriches the narrative of KOTOR 2, but also offers players a deeply personal and resonant story that lingers long after the credits roll.